What made me want to start a career in journalism? Well, when I was in high school, we had a local little TV station. It was called Hawkeye News. And I remember I had friends that did it, but I never really got interested. I guess I was a little camera shy. And it wasn't until my Spanish teacher told me, you know, Leslie, you're Latina, you should try out for this. We need more Latinos in news. And still a little reluctant. I didn't really want to do it. And so finally, it was the night before these tryouts, and I told my parents that morning, hey, drive me to the tryout. Tried out, sure enough, got it, and the rest is kind of history. Stuck with it. I would say the most rewarding part of my job is getting to meet all sorts of different people. Earlier today, I met a man who was 84 years old and who was a Korean War veteran, and just listening to everybody's stories. I think it's incredible that each and every single person walks in a different type of shoes, has a different life, and as a journalist, you get to be out there and walk in their shoes for a day and see what it's like. So definitely the relationships you make with people. Do I feel my ethnicity gives me an advantage? Yes. Only because I live in Texas. There are tons of Latinos here, and being able to speak Spanish gives me an upper hand when I'm out in the field interviewing. Not too long ago, I was covering a story on an evacuation that happened here in town, and the reporter from the other station wanted to interview the woman that I was interviewing, but unfortunately for him, he didn't speak Spanish. So I was able to get that interview easier, and it's a lot friendlier even if the person does speak English, because a lot of times you feel more comfortable speaking with people in Spanish, and so it kind of just makes people feel a little bit easier, and it kind of brings you more into the community, and it lets you get your feet wet in those areas. I would say yes. I don't know how much of that is because just feelings in the general newsroom. But yeah, I do. And I think some of it maybe comes with being a woman and not, I'm not quite sure how to explain that. But yes, I feel like I've, I guess, gotten overlooked because I'm a female. Currently, we are in sweeps, and it's November, and it's crazy to try to get really, really good stories for the ratings period. So right now, I'm working on a few. The one that I'm most really pressing for is to try to interview a veteran who has abused prescription medications. Not too long ago, there was an article that came out that said veterans coming back from the war are the highest rated that are using prescription drugs and wanting to commit suicide. So still working on that. It's a work in progress, but I think it'll be a good story. I would say the hardest obstacle breaking into the industry was definitely just waiting. Hearing back, waiting to hear back from people. Luckily for me, I was always a very social person, always trying to make connections because I knew this is what I wanted. So from the get-go, I was constantly talking to people, seeing who other people knew, but definitely the hardest part was waiting to hear back, and maybe even just waiting to see what all offers were on the table before saying yes to one particular thing. Have I ever have I ever encountered any prejudice while in an AHJ? I don't think so. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We're all a very close knit group, and I haven't really encountered any. Being a member of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, I've seen it grown. Whenever I was in college, I helped start up that program. Again, I know it had been dead for a few years, but we got a small group of us back together, and now I even still check back with the kids who are in it now, and we frequently talk, see how they're going, and see how they're doing. So the group has grown. Unfortunately, here where I am living now, there's not a big Latinos in journalism here, so it's been difficult. It's something that I'm interested in starting. I know we have a NABJ here, and it's very prominent. So looking to team up, and a lot of times we do team up the Black journalists and the Hispanic journalists. I know we had a mixer not too long ago, but it's great, and I'm definitely interested in starting it up. I've seen an increase in a growing number of people.